Hello YouTuber dubers, this is Invisible Flame, and I have a strong intuition that you want to learn how to create an epic adventure map. I can tell you want to learn how to create believable and realistic landscapes that look natural. And if you follow along in these videos, I'm going to show you how to create one badass adventure map. My vision for this tutorial is to show people who have never created their own custom Minecraft map that creating epic adventure maps doesn't have to be intimidating. That you can do it. You can create awesome maps that people will download. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't it be cool to have beautiful maps without those ugly, stupid floating mountains that the default Minecraft maps generate? In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do all of these things and more. It's actually more than a tutorial. It's a journey. My overall goal is to improve your map making skills. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do before we get into our world painter action is I want to make a general point about landscapes, making them look natural, and what nature does to land. Briefly, here's my first map. It's alright. Definitely looks like a believable natural landscape. I learned a lot by creating this map. It has all the things I would want in an adventure map. You've got the rocky, snow-capped mountains. We've got dense coniferous forests at the base of them. We've got snow, cold climates in the north. I've got warmer Mediterranean climates in the south, because this is a large continent. So I put some mesas and savannas in a couple places just so I would have a place to harvest hardened clay if I wanted it. Really, my only issue with this map is up here in the upper right corner. When I exported this map into Minecraft, Minecraft created abrupt land edges just beyond the border up here because I put the land a little too close to the border. I think it needs to be at least 15 blocks away from the border. I think maybe it was that part right there that triggered Minecraft to generate all this land just at the border. But anyway, I put this map on the shelf for the moment. I can carve back that land later if I want to. This one I call Noob Island. Wow, that's small. Let's get in there closer. This is an extreme example of a really bad map, and I've seen maps this bad on Planet Minecraft, and some look a little better, you know. But this is the typical features of a lot of the new maps. For example, mountains. You don't want your mountains looking like these round lumps coming out of the ground, or these sharp, round, perfectly round cones coming out of the ground, or mountain ranges that look like caterpillars slithering across the map in just a haphazard way. What is this? Is this supposed to be a river? I don't know if that's a river or rivers always come from mountains because the water is funneled down mountains, and naturally it funnels into channels of water that form creeks, and creeks empty into rivers, and rivers empty into oceans. It's very common sense. But even still, a lot of people just forget that. Here's something that might help you. This is something that, you know, it helps me sometimes when I'm starting a new map. Is we'll just close this out. Let's go to Google Maps. And just look at some real land. Look at what nature does to the landscape. Just take note of the patterns you see. They vary a little bit, but they all follow a general pattern, which is water erodes the mountains, and it forms these channels down the mountains. It carves these channels out, which creates this fractal pattern where you have a larger pattern than a repeat of the same pattern in smaller scale, and it's ever repeating. This is kind of like what do they call it? The Mandelbrot set. If you look up about fractals, it kind of looks like the Mandelbrot set. Take into consideration edges of continents. Notice on this rocky region we have erosion, and it's very rugged, but also notice you still have a general edge along here. So a lot of times when you're making the erosion on your edges and roughing up your edges, it's good to keep that general contour. You'll get much better, more realistic results if you are mindful of those sort of details. Let's look over here at the Pacific Northwest. Glaciers have carved out this gorge. It's called the Columbia River Gorge. Millions of years ago, when the glaciers carved out this gorge, it brought all this sediment out here to the mouth and formed this long peninsula. And so we have this long peninsula here called Long Beach. Knowing things like that will give you inspiration of features to include in your maps. Make them more natural, more beautiful, more interesting. Make people want to explore your landscape. You don't want the edges to look too clean and even. You want it to look like nature formed it. Rough and rugged in places and smooth in other places. You want to have those variations. Now, we're back here in World Painter. Before we wrap up this segment, I just want to show you guys my custom brushes. And I want to walk those of you who are new to World Painter, walk you through just getting used to using the custom brushes, some advanced terraforming techniques, and generally just get your feet wet in World Painter and show you how easy it is with just a few strokes of the brush to create realistic terrain. Now, I'm going to show you these custom brushes. You won't be able to create good maps without custom brushes. The default World Painter brushes just won't do it for you. You can download the custom brushes I'm using via the link in the description box. I'll provide that link. I have faith in you that you can figure out how to import those into your World Painter brushes file. Now, most of these brushes I downloaded from a YouTuber named ChrisstheNightbringer. He created an exceptional World Painter tutorial. I'll also put a link to that in the description box below this video. Now, these custom brushes, first of all, let's create just a test map. Nothing, just very simple, just to play around on. So we're going to go up here and create a new world and just call it test. It's let's make it kind of big, not too big. It doesn't need to be big. We're just playing around on it. Okay, height 256. We're gonna make it flat. Right here where it says level, we're going to drop that. That's going to drop the land level below water level, which is 62. So we're going to drop it down to about 55. Yeah. Okay, so Surface material, let's use grass, sure, why not? And we don't have to worry about anything else at this point. It's just a test map. So we create that, and I'm gonna. Okay, so there's our whole map. Now, let's create just a mass of land. I'm gonna use Mountain 2, and hopefully your mouse has a scrolling wheel on it. If you scroll the wheel, roll it back and forth, you can shrink and expand the brush like this, which is very useful when you want to do broad areas, or if you want to hone in on details and do small areas like rivers and things like that. But we're gonna make it big. We're gonna go up here to this up, or the up and down arrows, that little icon there. That's to raise and lower the terrain. And we're going to press the left mouse button, and we're going to raise it up like that. Just get a little bit poking out of the water. Then we're going to go to this line right here. That's the leveling tool. And we're going to, using this same tool, we don't need to change the tool. We're going to press the right mouse button and click on that and drag it out like this. And we have our intent. Now, intensity here is very important. If you have it really intense, it's going to, if you just experiment with that, it goes much faster. Sometimes you want to bring the intensity down so you don't go crazy on the land and lose control over what you're doing. Actually, I'm going to go way up, and I'm going to expand this out. Just create a piece of land to play on. Bear in mind, if we were doing a real map, we'd put a lot more thought into how we were doing that. Okay. Okay, so let's play around with some of these tools now. You've got your mountain tools here. You've got some cliff brushes here. If you look up here, it says cracked. These ones I created. Let's try some of those. Let's try crack 2, and we're gonna click this tool, the up and down tool. These cracked brushes are ones you want to be very subtle with, and just use them gently. Okay, we have the intensity down. Just tap the left mouse button and gently bring the land up like this. And you see what we've created there? It's sort of a cracked, eroded landscape. Let's look at that in 3D by going to View and going down to Show 3D View. I wish you could zoom in on this 3D view. I haven't figured out how to do that. It doesn't look like you can. Anyway, look at that. Pretty cool, huh? Now let me show you what happens if you aren't careful. If we turn the intensity up and just hold it like that. Now look at that. It doesn't look bad from the top in this view, but let's look at it in 3D. Go back to 3D view. Now that's not cool. That doesn't look good at all. I don't know what that looks like, but it's not what we want. So now let's look at some other ones. There's a darker version of that one that I just showed you, and that's just a little more intense. Let's look at that. Look at that. That's pretty cool. These add a lot of options as far as what you do in your landscape. Let's look at this one, cracked one. This is a very just rigid, bold brush, and I'm going to bring the intensity way down for this one. And now with this one, you stamp it and it just creates a flat shape. as you can see there. If we hold it, we can bring it up even higher, but don't bring it up too high. Let's see what that did. See, that's good. Okay, we have a low one there, a little bit higher. That's pretty good, but watch what happens if we hold it down longer. I guarantee you this is gonna look like shit. See that? That doesn't look natural. So you just have to get a feel for this. Just play around with these and just get used to them. Feel them out. Now let's try those in the water. I so want to show you these in the water. Okay. Also, I want to show you how to rotate the brushes, the direction, which is important to know. Let's create that same, with the same cracked one brush, an island in the water. Just tap it lightly, like that, until it breaks the water. Okay, we've just broken the surface. That's all we want to do. Now, put your mouse right over it again. Scroll your wheel down so it's a little smaller. Maybe about like that. Now we're going to rotate the brush by press the wheel down like a button. Press it down. And while you have it pressed down, scroll the wheel, and that rotates the brush. This is very handy because you can add variation instead of just stamping the same brush over and over like a stamp across the map. Rotate the brush around, give it some variation. This makes it look much more natural and randomized. So we've made the brush smaller. Let's raise some terrain over that, what we've just previously did, just a little bit, by tapping the mouse. Okay. And then let's do one more layer, but a little smaller. And let's rotate the brush a little bit. Make it a little smaller. Tap. Okay, now let's look at that, what we've just done. That's probably not ideal. I probably made that a little too small, but let's just have a look at that. Okay, see, you can see like cliffs. It looks like this is just a jaggedy, rocky island with some grass growing on top of the rocks, and it looks like it's just eroded away and just broken up over eons. And what we can do with that is we can take we can erode it even more. And let's go to this tool right here, pointed cliff, and expand the brush out a little bit, and let's zoom in. Let's take it down a little bit on not on the edges. Let's go in here. So let's make the brush smaller, and press the right mouse button. Just tap it along the edges here, and we just erode some of that. Actually, I want to make that broader because I also need. Let's take the intensity down because we're puncturing down into the water, which we don't really want to do. This is where you kind of, it's good to get used to feeling around with these tools, adjusting the intensity. If we adjust it way down, we have much more control with the erosion here without just going crazy. Now I want to check that, see what that looks like in 3D. But anyway, you can play around with that, experiment with it, find out what looks best to you. But as you can see, you can do a lot of cool things with this brush. We can also use that brush to make rocky, rugged rocky coasts, and I'll show you how to do that. Press the left mouse key and just push the land up just a little beyond the edge. Maybe we need to take the intensity up a little bit. There we go. See, we can create rough, rocky coasts. And later when we're painting the map, we can even paint those as rocks, which is really cool. Okay, let's move on to some of our other brushes. Oh! I want to do another island, but using this, using Cracked 3. Now, this is really cool. Okay, so let's take the intensity up to about 60 and come out here and left click, just tap until it starts to break the surface. Get it to fill out a little bit. Let's just check that in 3D. Okay, there's the island we're working on right now. And now, you see this area right here, this point of this general shape we've made. Rotate the brush slightly, and we're going to use that as a pivoting point. Put the edge of the square somewhere about there, because that's where the point is going to be when we start clicking again. And we're just going to rotate around just like so. Rotate again, centered on that point. I want to bring the intensity down a little bit. Maybe make the brush a little bigger. Just enough so it's breaking the surface. We're not going crazy here. Go all the way around that pivot point. Now let's just have a look at that, what we've just done. Okay, so we see that the middle has gotten crazy. We don't want that. So here's what we're going to do. So we go right here to our smoothing tool, which is right here, this line. And just tap, left click, just very subtle, just tap a little bit, check it in the 3D view, and we just sort of ease that down. Okay, now it's created a little hill, which isn't exactly what we want. We do want it to look jagged and rocky, but we've sort of toned the height down. Now we can erode it a little bit, and we're going to erode it by, maybe we'll use that same tool, but left click, using the up and down tool. That might give us what we want. Okay, that's okay. I'm not going to overwork it. I really just wanted to sort of get you used to it and show you what that tool can do, the effects. Let's use it on land. I really love it on land. If you're creating, certain landscapes call for a tool like this. There's certain, like a really rocky landscape that doesn't have a lot of subsoil, mostly rocks. We can expand the brush out to large and just click, right click, and we want the intensity down. And then it just looks so cool. You want to be very subtle when using this tool. Very gentle, just go easy. See these textures, these rocky textures? if you painted those as rocks, which you can do, they look so fucking awesome. You like that, don't you? I do. So right here you can see we've created just a section of cliffs, and this is how we want it. We have, like I said, that irregularity. I'm going to keep it that way, but I'm also going to add some rocks down here. I want to see some jagged rocks that we can walk around and play on. And for that, I'm going to go back to, I think for that I want to use noise. I'm going to try that with noise and zoom in. Come down here, make my brush smaller, and I want to use the up and down tool. Make it a little bigger. You see that? See, so we got those rocky textures. Very cool. Now I'm also going to try that with this cracked 3 brush. See what that's going to do for me. And just tap. See, that also creates some good rocky textures. So you can play around with that. But as you can see, it was pretty damn simple to do that. That was very easy. Anybody could do that. Now let's make some mountains. We're going to zoom out. Okay, I'm just going to bring this cliff area out and sort of blend it into the terrain. I'm going to use Mountain 2 and expand the brush. And so you can sort of massage these areas of land out and just create gradual slopes. It's just fucking awesome. Now let's add some mountains. Now remember when I was talking about mountains, I was talking about, I think I mentioned that if you look at mountain ranges, they generally follow a grain along the land. They follow the general contour. We want to create those ranges. We want to suggest they were naturally formed by probably some fault action. And to do that, we have a whole variety of mountain tools. What I like to do is I like to go to a tool like, or a brush like Mountain 1. It just provides an overall sort of rugged mountain texture, which I'll show you. And I use that. I don't make it too high, but I create hills with that. Like this. I want to get up to the mountain, so we can't just be there. We have to get through all the hills, and then we get up to the mountains. And let's just check that out. Oh, I like that. I like those hills. That's the way I want to see it. And then we're gonna pick an area that's gonna have those high peaks, and we're gonna bring those hills up even further, and then we're gonna plop our high peaks over the hills and just tap. We don't want to go crazy with this. In fact, already I'm a little worried that, again, the base is going up too steep. There's not a gradual enough slope. That brush may need to be edited in photo editing and have the contrast tweaked, make softer edges on it. But let's check it out. Let's use Mountain 2, and now we're gonna right click and sort of erode away those edges a little bit. Let's just try that. Let's check that out. It's a little better. Now here's the other thing we can do. We take like, let's do Mountain 14. We take that brush and come in and make it smaller than these other ones, and we do smaller peaks around here, but we don't have to bring them up much, just a little bit, just to sort of push the the mountains out a little bit, integrate them into the landscape, and we get a much better result. Now we see that it's looking better. Now, what do we have? Not bad. Okay, I'm not going to overwork it for this tutorial, but let's just move on. Now, we can create rivers in this, and I'll show you how to do that too. We don't always have to correct things we've done. We can accept them and use them for what they are. Like right here, we've got this dip, or it looks kind of like a seam between the mountain and the land. And what we can do is create a river out of that, like so. So we go to a tool like we'll use this one. I think it's one of the finer pointed cliff tools. Yeah, it's Cliff 1. And I'm going to take that and make it very small. And I'm actually have to zoom in for this. Make it small and right click and push down. We're going to have our river flowing this way. Actually, I'll take the intensity up for this operation. And we're just going to carve out a little more into the terrain to define a river. So we're looking at this and saying, okay, there's going to be a river there. So let's have it flowing this way, and it's starting up here. Let's just define it, and don't make it straight. Make it flow around the contours of the mountains. This also reinforces the purpose of the shapes that have been created. That makes sense. There's a river here. And now, when we get down to here and we get to these flatter regions, I'm going to make the brush bigger because it's going to look funny if it's going to look like if you drug a pencil through a birthday cake if we don't make the brush a little bigger. So we're going to continue coming down, eroding the landscape out. The closer you get to the ocean, the bigger you want to make your brush. So we've created a mouth of the river. Now that we've established that it goes out to the ocean, we can even come back in and carve it out more, make it really small like a river would. Alright, I like how that's coming along. Now let's add in some water there to make it a real river. And remember, water flows 8 blocks, so there's going to be no trouble whether this water will flow down the hill or not. It's not easy getting a clean river. It just takes trial and error. We want it to only be flowing down. We don't want water that's sort of splashed up on the sides because it's going to look bad. Carefully. Oh, see, I went off the lines there. Come down here. I'm going to pause the video and I'll meet you in game. We'll check this out, how it looks in game. We'll go to global operations and fill with biome right here. Fill with biome. That's what we forgot to do. And we're going to fill it with plains biome only on land. See there? Go. And now it's all plains biome. And now I'll export it. I'll see you in Minecraft. Okay, so we've spawned here in our test world. Now remember, this is not a dog and pony show. This is just quickly get a visual of what we've done so far in our little experiment. Well, that's not bad. Mountains look pretty good. Now here's the river, little river we've created. Ideally, we'd create a river that stretched out much further, but this was just an experiment, like I said. Let's come in here and see how the river actually looks where we've placed the water. I predict it's not going to be perfect. Okay, we can see right here that the land has dips down and then back up. We don't like that, but we could massage that better if we want to and correct that. This is what I like to see, these flowing waterfalls. That's the effect I wanted. Now see, it dips back again, and right here we've got water that's sort of coming up from the side. We don't want that either. Let's continue around and just check this baby out. I like the way the mountains turned out. And when we create our adventure map, we're going to be adding rock and snow and all the finer details. So looks good. Okay, let's go look at those little islands we created. Okay, it's coming up. Alright, here's the first one. That's not bad. I mean, as it is right now, I don't like it because it's grass, but we would want to paint this all as rock. Now if this were rock, that is acceptable. Let's come over here and look at the other one. I didn't actually make that really how I wanted it. It was an experiment. I like the direction the effect is going. That could look really awesome if we had just made this middle part come out a little bit more. But this just goes to show that those brush textures create some really nice effects. You know, it kind of reminds me of the terrain in that game Riven or Mist. Oh, we got an ostrich. Okay, well that concludes this first segment. In the next video, we're going to be building an epic adventure map, and that's really the thrust of this whole tutorial, is going through and building a really polished, beautiful adventure map complete with all the features that we want. If you found this video of value, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.